Hey everybody, Zack, Dowdy here, and welcome to a new YouTube video. Today's video is going to be all about how to skate transition skateboarding in the series titled My Perspective, Episode 3. Today we're going to talk all about the backside pivots, frontside pivots, and rock and rolls. But before we get into the skateboarding action of today's video, I previously made a video on how to build a quarter pipe, and the coping on my quarter pipe, or I should say the note, being chipped away, and there's just some gaps in it. So the other day I came off and I just hosed it all down really hard and brushed it down and basically cleared all the grout out. And I just tried to get anything that was loose off of it before I patched it up with some vinyl concrete patcher. And I used this different trowel that I didn't have before. So now that the concrete vinyl patcher is all cured up, I'm not going to rub brick it like I did before in a previous video. I rub bricked it because the vinyl concrete patcher is so fine that I think after skating it a little bit, we'll grind it down. So let's get warming up with some backside, frontside pivots, and then I'll teach you how I do them. Before you can do the backside or frontside pivot, you definitely want to have a good kick turn. That's the one trait that's definitely required before the pivot. Good backside kick turn and a good frontside kick turn. Essentially what the pivot is just working yourself up to the coping and turning around at the coping versus turning around on the transition. So when you're rolling up for the backside pivot, you basically want to be in this stance. You basically want your front feet just behind your front bolts, and then same with your back foot. You kind of want it behind your bolts, right in the pivot cup of your transition of your board, because what you're really going to be doing is using that little pivot cup of your transition of your board to kind of stall and then using it to go back in. Now ultimately the goal with the backside pivot is just to get your back truck up on there, and you're going to turn around and fall back into the transition. I think the one good tip I can give you with the backside pivot is you want to lock your back truck into the back position, almost have the wheels against the transition, and then it will kind of pitch you and fall you back in, because as you turn, your wheels are naturally going to fall into the transition. Besides that, say you always want to keep your shoulders in and keep your weight center of gravity. Backside pivot is just one of those tricks you got to go up and do all those different things, and you sort of figure it out. You figure out your body position, and then as you're rolling back in, you definitely want to, kind of just like you're doing a kick turn, make sure you squat and pump out of the transition. Now for the frontside pivot, it's pretty much the same position, but you want your back foot up on your board a little bit higher towards the bolts. The last thing I would say with the frontside pivot is almost like you want to stick your chest out, kind of like doing a banana position with your body. That's kind of the position you're in. As you're falling back in, you sort of banana out the opposite way. Backside rock and roll. The backside rock and roll really is all about your back foot. Your front foot is sort of just guiding your board and keeping it into position, but your back foot is doing all the pivoting, the churning work. And the reason we're connecting these backside pivots and frontside pivot to the backside rock and roll is because it's a pretty similar trick. The only difference is it's more on your back foot, and you're just throwing your front foot up there and churning it, back around over the coping versus just doing it all in one churn. And we did go over rock fakies in a previous video. If you're curious on how to do rock fakies or deck rock and rolls, I'll leave a link above. You can check that video out. So I think when you're rolling up for the rock and roll, the important thing to keep in mind is that you kind of just want to lap your board all the way up there and churn with your back trucks hitting the coping or the noping in my case. And the reasoning for that is because you have more tension, you're closer to the ground, there's less hang up, you're not as teeter-tottering per se, like I've said in the previous video, and you're able to pivot sort of out of it. The thing is, you kind of want to roll your foot, almost your back foot, with your board. And the reason you're doing that is because it gives you leverage to pull your board back over and out of the rock and roll. Those little tips hopefully can help you with pivots, backside, frontside, and rock and rolls. Again, this is just my perspective. It's not really exactly how to do these things, but hope you guys enjoyed it. It's good going back and forth. I need some more tricks to do. Let me know down below, what other tricks should I cover? I got some good suggestions from you guys, but I need more. Keep them coming. Also, my perspective, do you guys think it's good? I'm digging it so far. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next one. Mash.